I am no millionaire, okay? Is it because I bought into a pyramid scheme at a young age and I couldn't get out of it? Welcome to Beyond the Screen, I'm Nate, and these are the top 10 dumbest celebrities who were scammed out of millions. Number 10. Uma Thurman. One of the greatest film stars of all time is Uma Thurman. She is incredible in almost every role she is given, and I'm sorry, I won't forget when she was Medusa in the first Percy Jackson movie, okay? We can't forgive that one. Considering her on-screen epicness, Uma is a woman that you would not want to mess with, but unfortunately she got duped big time and lost millions. Her financial planner, Kenneth Starr, was revealed to be responsible for over $1 million of her money that was unaccounted for. This man was a tricky financial planner and had actually done something similar like this to a few other high-level clients. Over the years, it was revealed that this man had stolen over $33 million from his collected clients. Thankfully, celebrities are smart, and when their money is stolen, they notice. The wronged parties got together and sued Starr, and he was convicted on several charges and sentenced to 90 months in prison. Now the only currency that he can try to steal is commissary soup. Number 9. Shakira. While her hips may not lie, apparently she does. Famous pop singer Shakira made headlines in 2018 when Spanish prosecutors announced that Shakira failed to pay $14.5 million in European taxes between 2012 and 2014. Shakira claimed that her primary residence at the time was the Bahamas, but authorities say that she was living in Barcelona during this period in a house that she had purchased in May of 2012. Shakira was adamant that this never took place and that the Spanish government were simply trying to ruin her name. She dodged the government for years until she was forced to pay the full tax debt plus an extra $3 million in interest. But the law did not stop there, and they apparently continued to berate her to this day, claiming that there is still money owed on her account. Shakira finally had enough and decided to stop avoiding the law and face them head on, beginning a lawsuit which did not go her way. In fact, this past week, Spain charged her with tax evasion for a second time, claiming that she failed to pay over $6 million in her 2018 income. I guess she was just a little distracted by the whole court thing. She's been notified of the charges, but as of scripting, there is no specifics on if and when she will get the cuffs. Number 8. Liv Tyler. Unlike a lot of people in Hollywood, Liv was never scammed by her employer or her agent. Instead, it was actually her dermatologist that conned her out of a ton of cash. Mary Gabriella Hashimopour is a well-known skincare expert who's worked with a ton of big-name celebrities like Cher and Jennifer Aniston, but apparently this woman was not just interested in the health of her client's skin, no, she was also very concerned and concentrated on their credit card information. According to Liv, her manager started noticing transactions on her card that just made no sense, and Liv was not a very materialistic person, yet her card was being used at shopping centers and boutiques that she had never been to. It was discovered that Mary was the one doing the shopping, and that Liv was far from the first person she had done this to. Eventually, she was caught and charged with identity theft and credit card fraud, among a few other things, and needless to say, her skincare practice was closed, and Liv Tyler was almost out $250,000. That's a lot. Number 7. Elton John. Elton is one of the greatest musicians of all time, and he is one of the few celebrities on the planet that's had one of those biographical movies made about them before they pass away. That's pretty cool. Many people already know that Elton is a big spender, just like look at his sparkly jacket and glasses. Despite his massive spending habits, he was shocked to find he lost over $29 million thanks to mismanagement. Elton eventually sued his management agency, Andrew Hayden and Prince Waterhouse Coopers, in an attempt to retrieve his money. Unfortunately, a lack of evidence soon led to that case being dismissed, and Elton John was out $29 million. On top of that, he lost another $10 million in legal fees that he never got back. Number 6. Nic Cage. Nick is one of those celebrities that you just can't put your finger on, you know? Is he good? Is he bad? Is he a vampire? Probably. The answers to these questions will be debated until the end of time. Now, at one point in his career, the answer seemed to be good, as in 2019 alone, he made over $40 million, being in crime dramas Bad Lieutenant and the hit sci-fi thriller Knowing, alongside Rose Byrne and Liam Hemsworth. Nick's tale of woe is self-inflicted, as this man took every penny he made and just used it for fun stuff. He bought horses, mansions, cars, and he even bought rare historical artifacts that surprisingly didn't include the Declaration of Independence. You'd think he'd be meta, but no. Unless he stole it and just didn't tell anybody, which would definitely be something he'd do. By the end of the 2000s, Nick saw no money in his pocket. He was forced to sell several of the shiny new things that he had just purchased, and he actually owed the IRS over over $6 million. His career is still going strong and has even begun to take a tick upward with the critical success of his most recent movie, Renfield, not to mention the 6 other movies that he's coming out with this year. So let's see what happens. It's just interesting though, because despite all of this work, he's taken a significant pay decrease and he has remained in the red to this day. Number 5, Ben Stiller. Financial advisors are super hit or miss in the world of Hollywood. 9 times out of 10, they truly do have your best interests at heart and are committed to making you and themselves millions. It's that 10th time you get someone like Dana Giacchetto. Derek Zoolander himself, Ben Stiller, was one of Dana's many financial victims. Ben hired Dana to take care of his personal finances, and it turned out that that was the last thing that he cared about at all. Dana set it up so that he was able to pocket over $250,000 of Ben's personal cash, along with a combined $10 million from his other clients over the last couple of years. Eventually, Ben and a few other clients were able to put a lawsuit together, and Dana was sentenced to 3 years in prison, which, considering the pain and suffering he caused his clients, was pretty light. Thankfully, Ben Stiller is an incredible actor, director, all that jazz, so his career and bank account is doing just fine these days. Number 4, Robert De Niro. Robert De Niro, again, is an incredible actor, and you can be forgiven for thinking that he comes from a long line of creative types. According to Robert himself, there is only one artistic family member that he's ever learned from. Growing up, his father, Robert Sr., was an artist. He was a painter, to be specific. Now, following his time in the army, Robert Sr. started painting like crazy, something his son RJ did not take for granted. Later in life, Robert was still very sentimental when it came to his father's work. So much so that he was unfortunately scammed out of millions because someone sold that work without permission. Several of his father's paintings were wrongfully sold without permission, totaling to $88 million in stolen goods. The person responsible was an art dealer named Lawrence Salander. He gained access to a facility that housed De Niro's work, stole it, and sold it with zero permission from the family. Robert Jr. was devastated to learn the news, but eventually his father's paintings were tracked down. While they were stolen and sold illegally, everyone who owned a painting praised his father's work. It was ultimately decided to leave the paintings right where they were, and Robert accepted the almost $90 million loss, and of course, the loss of his family history. Number 3, Mel B. Mel may be known best as Scary Spice from her time with the legendary pop crew the Spice Girls, but it was Mel that was put into a scary situation when she divorced from her husband, Jimmy Gulzer, who scammed her technically out of quite a lot. Despite being married for only 16 months, Mel was ordered by the court to pay Jimmy a settlement worth about $1.6 million, including cash payments and a property worth another $1 million. By the time Mel B divorced her second husband, Stephen Belafonte, she was forced to offer that hubby $6.5 million. These men just keep coming in and taking her cash. Over the course of 2 relationships, she was forced to pay $7.6 million in assets, and if Mel had just put a prenup in place during either of these marriages, she might have saved herself from a lot of hassle, but instead, she was forced to pay way too much to men who clearly knew what they were doing, just squeezing Mel for every bit of cash that they could find. Number 2, Cindy Crawford. Cindy Crawford and her husband, Rand Gerber, were involved in a pretty scary situation that left them on the line for $100,000 and the safety of their family. Cindy and Rand received a photo from a male model by the name of Edis Kalar. I think that's how you pronounce it, and I'm sorry if I got it wrong, but you won't care in a minute. The photo was of their daughter tied up, and attached was a note for the parents to fork over $100,000 for her safe return. Well, Cindy isn't a dummy, and after the most minimal amount of digging, like less than a couple of hours, it was revealed that the photo was taken by their housekeeper who was dating the model. Police were involved and their daughter was found safe and sound, not even really knowing what had happened. Eventually, Edis was caught and charged with extortion. Thankfully, this is the one instance where the money was never taken and the reason it would be taken never materialized. And number 1, Kiefer Sutherland. Kiefer is one of those celebrities who is a stoic bad boy on screen. Being in films like The Lost Boys and Stand By Me, this man has made a stellar career for himself over the years, Unfortunately, the 24-hour star may be awesome on screen, but off-screen he is a man who is not great at making business decisions. A man named Michael Wayne Carr convinced Kiefer that it was a smart idea to get into the steer-rearing business. Steers, or large cows, were supposed to be a lucrative market, and Michael was able to convince Sutherland to drop almost $870,000 up front to sell steers. Now, it turns out that Carr was never actually involved in the steer business at all, and he just conned Kiefer Sutherland into depositing $870,000 into his personal bank account. Thankfully, it's very easy to track these things and prove that there was thievery at play, so that guy faced several charges of felony and misdemeanor, and there is no way that he got out of them. And those are the celebrities scammed out of millions. What financial blunders did we miss? Well, let us know in the comments below. As always, drop a like if you had a good time, and follow the channel for more celebrity content every day. Thank you for stopping beyond the screen, and we'll see you next time.